Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, for those of you who may have never been here before. In today's video, we are going to be ranking all of the death types in The Sims 4. I'm pretty sure I got them all. I might have missed a few. If I did, make sure to let me know in the comments and maybe we'll redo this video the next time we get a new death type. This is inspired because we had 2 new death types in The Sims 4 Cottage Living, and some of my favorite things in The Sims 4 when we get new expansions is woohoo spots and death types, because I just think that they're so silly and they're so fun, and the fact that you can like have your Sims get attacked by a bunny and then die from it is just wild. Absolutely wild. This game is just wild, and I love that about it. Before we jump into ranking all the death types in The Sims 4, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to do that, and you can also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it at any point throughout. So let's jump into the rankings. So here we are on Tier Maker, where I have created a Sims 4 death types ranking system. Now I got all of these images off Google. A lot of them came from The Sims Online because they have a very, very in-depth article with a bunch of images on all of the death types in the game, and other ones are just random creators. Thank you to anybody who made these images because they are quite funny. So we're going to start with the new deaths from The Sims 4 Cottage Living. These are the evil chicken, but like the chicken death and the rabbit death, where if you have a low enough relationship and you get attacked twice by one of these animals, you will end up being gone in the game. I think that these ones are honestly incredible. Both of them deserve to be, we should talk about our ranking system. We have iconic for the ones that are like iconic, incredible for ones that are great, decent for ones that are just like, you know, they're good, but they're not like beautiful. Why is like, why do these even exist? And meh is just the ones that like don't make me feel any type of way. That's how we're going with this. So these two are going to fall in the incredible category because honestly, I think that they're very funny. The fact that you can have like a cute little bunny just like go in and like get rid of your Sims is quite funny. The chicken, I think chickens are more evil in my mind than rabbits are. So I think that that's really good. But like both of these deserve to be in the incredible category for sure. The next one we have here is the vending machine death. Now this one I'm going to put in decent. I think that it's funny, but I don't think that you're going to encounter this very often. And I also want to be able to use vending machines multiple times without the prospect of dying. So I don't really love that like vending machines can kill you. And this is actually how I also feel about Murphy beds. Murphy beds shouldn't be a death type as easily. I guess they patched it. So like at the beginning when we first got Tiny Living and we got the Murphy beds, it was very, very easy to die with this system, and that was awful. But they did patch it to make it a little more difficult, and you can upgrade your bed to make it not happen. But I think that because it came out so many times at the beginning when this pack first was released, it was a little much. I think that it is a decent death, and I think that the vending machine death is very similar in my brain to the Murphy bed death. So they both deserve to be in the decent category. The next death type we have is from The Sims 4 Snowy Escape, where if your Sim is mountain climbing, rock climbing, and they fall, I think they have to fall twice, they have the opportunity to die. Now this one is just, it feels gruesome to me. I feel kind of meh about it. Obviously falling off a mountain is like an interesting way to die, but I'm just like, this isn't one that I'm going to encounter very often. I'm just not going to see it in my gameplay because I'm definitely not going to go rock climbing up a hill ever again, or up a mountain ever again in The Sims 4 because that pack was uninspiring to me, and I just don't think I'll see it very often, so it feels very meh and deserves to be in that category. The next death type we have is death by flies, which will be our first iconic death. This is because it is from The Sims 2 originally, where you could have a bunch of dirty things in your house and you might die from flies, and The Sims 2 was my favorite game that I played a ton when I was a kid. So this one deserves to be iconic. This is just really funny to me. If you have a bunch of like trash and just chaos on your Sims lot and you have The Sims 4 eco lifestyle, you do have a chance of dying from flies. If you're trying to befriend the flies, they don't like you, death is upon you, and that's hilarious to me. Iconic, beautiful, spectacular. Another one from The Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle is death by Beetlejuice. This is a very specific thing where you need to get like beetle nuggets from those bug houses or something and then make a drink with them if you have a high enough mixology skill, and your Sim drinking it will possibly turn them into a ghost. This one I think is in the decent category because most players don't actually know that this even exists and that this is a possibility, so definitely look up Death by Beetlejuice. It is very funny to me, but I don't think a lot of players know about it, so I don't think it's incredible and I don't think that it's iconic at all. But it doesn't deserve to be in like the meh category. The next one we have is Death by Spellcaster Overload from The Sims 4 Realm of Magic. These ones are always just like pretty decent. You know, you expect your Sims to be able to die from an overload, or vampires, which are also going to be in the decent category, to die from spending too much time outside. Where's that one here? We have a little vampire, you know, burning in the sun. These ones, decent, deserve to be in the game, beautiful, but not incredible. The next death is the death by the mother plant, and I understand why you can die from the mother plant, but I feel pretty like I don't want my Sims to die. So like, why does this exist? I like the storyline from The Sims 4 Strangerville. It's fun. It's a good time. It's something I'll probably never use again. I think that the entire pack doesn't need to exist because the storyline is so weird and like out there. Good on the Sims team for trying, but like it's just not something I'm into. So I definitely think this is a why category for me. And there are only a couple more that deserve to be in this category in my mind. So to be in the why do you exist category, you gotta be special. So good job, Mother Plant. The next one comes from The Sims 4 Seasons, and this is if you sent a flower arrangement with a death flower and then give it to a Sim. If you give it to an elder Sim, they are going to pass away. It's actually a very peaceful looking death, and if you give it to an adult Sim, they will turn into an elder. This is a really, really, really good one in my mind. I honestly think that this is incredible because it's like a really subtle way to kill a Sim or make them become older. I think that like having an evil Sim just like hand you some flowers is kind of iconic, but not like iconic in the Sims way. Like it's incredible. It deserves to be in that category. Just being able to like hand somebody something and they die. It's like, yeah, I did that. You're welcome. The next two that we have are Overheating in the Sun from The Sims 4 Seasons, as well as Freezing in the Wintertime. Both of these are honestly really decent deaths. They make sense, you know, you don't want to overheat or get too cold, and all of the deaths from Seasons are very, very fun. Now, one I did not get a picture of because I couldn't find a good one is Death by Lightning. This one is very, very rare in my mind, but I do think that it's incredible if your Sims do manage to get struck by lightning with The Sims 4 Seasons during some kind of thunderstorm. That's honestly incredible. Deserves to be in that category. Could not find a good picture of it. The next one we have is from everyone's favorite pack, The Sims 4 My First Pet stuff. This is honestly one of my favorite deaths in the game just because they added the most ridiculous animation and the most ridiculous ghost for this one. This is the rabid rodent fever death. So your Sim has to like get this disease, not decide to cure it, and after a few days they are going to die, and this is just very funny to me. It just is beautiful, and they end up with a crazy ghost that's a hamster, and I just think that that's really funny. So honestly, in my mind, this one deserves to be in the iconic category. However, because it is my first pet stuff, I will bump it down to incredible. The next one we have came with The Sims 4 Jungle Adventure, and that is the Death by Poison. Now this one, you know, it's pretty decent, but I'm like, I never touch that pack. I never play with Jungle Adventure. I think it was a good concept, but it's not something I'm going to add to my gameplay regularly. So I'm going to put this one in the meh category just because it's not something I play with, and it's not something I've seen a ton because I've played through the pack one time and then barely ever gone back to play with it again, and I probably never will. The next thing we have comes from City Living, and this one is the Death by Low Quality Pufferfish, which I think is something that some players might not even know exists. But if you have a Sim who has a low cooking skill, you send them out into the world, get them to find a stall that sells pufferfish, they eat it, they will then learn the recipe. If you get them to go home and cook the pufferfish and get either them or another Sim to eat it, that Sim will pass away. And honestly, I think that this is incredible. I think it's really funny. I think that if Simmers didn't know that this existed and they made it pufferfish and then they realized that they were gonna die, that'd be really funny. I think this is a really incredible death and really just a funny one, in my opinion. The next thing we have is with The Sims 4 Spa Day. If you have a sauna in your house or a sauna at one of the spas and you spend too much time in it, your Sim will pass away. Honestly, another one that a lot of Simmers probably don't even know exists, but if you do spend too much time, you're gonna be out of here. This one I honestly feel is pretty decent. It's a good death. It's not anything too iconic, not anything too spectacular, but it does deserve a little bit of praise because it is a funny one. Now the next one shouldn't have any questions. This is Death by Drowning, and it deserves to be in the iconic category because it's been around for decades. Being able to remove a pool ladder in the previous games was the best way to kill Sims very, very quickly, obviously, and now you're able to just build a fence around the pool or send a really, really tired Sim to swim, and usually they'll just end up drowning. Honestly iconic, everyone knows that. The next death we have is also going to go in the iconic category because it is Death by Cowplant, one of the best ones. In this death, you'll have a cowplant who you don't feed. It shows you a piece of cake. Your Sim might eat the cake. If they have already eaten the cake and then decide to go get eaten by a cowplant again, they are going to pass away, and you can milk the cowplant for like the cowplant essence stuff, which I think is really, really gross, but really beautiful in a weird way. Cowplants are one of those things in The Sims 4 that just add that little bit of weird non-realism that I'm always looking for, and I love that. So this death is definitely iconic, and I hope you think so too. The next death that we have is Death by Overexertion, and this happens to elder Sims, so if they work out too many times, or if they woohoo too many times, there is a chance that they will die. You will get a moodlet letting you know that this is a possibility, so if you get that overexertion moodlet, do not do anything else until that is gone, or your Sims will die. Now this is one of those ones where I'm like, I don't feel that strongly about it. It honestly is just like, okay. Like, it tells you that they're gonna die. I don't know, there's just something about this one that I just don't really care too much for. It is a great way to get rid of elders. So if you're looking to get rid of elders a little more quickly than just waiting for them to die naturally, then this is the way to go. The next one we have is death from electrocution, which can happen if your Sims are trying to repair an object and then they get electrocuted and then they're dazed. If they get electrocuted again, they are going to pass away. This one is honestly a pretty decent death. I really like the animation for it because they get like zapped and like fly in the air a little bit. It's very funny. And I've done it quite a few times to Sims. It's just a way to like get rid of them with it seeming innocent but not being innocent. So this one definitely deserves to be in the middle tier decent category. Now for me, the next three are all bundled together, and this is the hysterical death, the embarrassed death, and the angry death. I think that all three of these just are kind of meh for me. When the game first released, the emotions kind of meant more, so these were a little bit easier to achieve. These aren't as easy to achieve, in my opinion, anymore. Plus the whole emotion system, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a little bit broken in The Sims 4, so I'm gonna put all three of these in the Y category. We have the angry one, the hysterical one, and the embarrassed death. So mortification, hysteria, and enragement. Death by cardiac explosion, one may say. These ones just, why? Why do these exist? Why is this a thing? I feel like these, they really wanted to make the emotion system work, but like it's not going to work. It's like, you know, you're not going to make fetch happen. You're not going to make emotions happen. It's just not a thing that we want in The Sims 4, at least for myself. Maybe I shouldn't say we. It's not a thing that I want in The Sims 4. The next one we have is death by fire, and this can happen in a ton of ways, obviously by cooking, if you don't change the lint in your laundry, if your Sims are playing with that science table, there are so many ways to set fire in the game. Now for me, this one is iconic, mostly because of like The Sims 1, because back in those days, you could like put fireworks in a house that's filled with rugs and set your whole house on fire, and that was just really, really fun, and I love starting fires in The Sims 4, and I love how spontaneously fires can start in The Sims 4, and I just love that. I think that it's fun. I think that it's kind of like gruesome and gross to like watch Sims get burned to death, but like kind of fun, kind of iconic. So I think that it deserves to be in the iconic category. The next one we have is death from starvation. I'm going to put this one in the decent category. You would expect your Sims to die if they don't eat. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too out there. And honestly, it's just kind of like lackluster for me, but I do think that it doesn't deserve to be in the meh category because it is something that I use quite often to get rid of random Sims, especially if I have UI cheats installed and I just like click it and then they're gone, and I love that. I love it. I love it so much. I use that a lot. So it definitely doesn't deserve to be in meh, but it's not like iconic or incredible, you know? And the final death that we have is death by old age. I'm going to put this one honestly in the iconic category because if you have played a Sim from like birth until they pass away from old age, you are an impressive Simmer to me, and I think that's wonderful. And honestly, a lot of Simmers get really attached to their characters, and it's just really beautiful to watch them be able to have this moment. And like slowly, the way that the Sims like slowly go to the ground when they're dying from old age is just like so wholesome. It's so cute. I love that. And it just brings me a lot of joy to watch. That sounds terrible, to watch my Sims die brings me joy. But I mean, like watching a Sim have a full and fulfilling life and then pass away from old age is just really beautiful instead of having one of these other reasons take them away from you. And there you have it. Those are my rankings for death types in The Sims 4. Of course, the ones that have been around a little bit longer are going to be a little more iconic to me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do that as well. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.